Hello everybody, this is Luna coming at you live on the road to Aronoka right now. We are in the middle of a sort of investigative procedure right now. I have a bit of questions. Everybody is on edge in the sort of group that we're in, and nothing seems right. And the only person that seems to be able to give me answers is this mysterious Captain V. Captain, sir, may I have a word, please, sir? Just a moment of your time. May I speak to you?
Yes, I'm what you need.
I had a few questions, if you don't mind. There is a bit of sort of discomfort going about the group, and I think they would really appreciate a little bit of sort of explanation for what has been going on, you know. First question right off the bat, why are you still with us, sir? I thought, you dropped us off. That's of what you do, but your ship is back there.
That's mostly with you, sure. I mean, you wanted to be on the land here.
Yes.
I just thought I'd go on a nice stroll, continue on. Maybe follow up, see what's going on with you guys.
So you're on vacation like I am here?
Well, yeah, I'm out on a boat, so I got to be on vacation. I mean, look at Golkir. He's not he doesn't go on vacation a lot.
Yes. And about Mr. Golkir here, you do understand that the Dragonborns are not normally around. So can you explain a bit about why he's here, so intimidating and large?
Well, he was born that way, for one.
Oh.
But he
yes, I understand that.
He's my first mate. He gotta go places with me.
Uh-huh.
Obviously he needs to go out some. He's not very social.
Oh,
so
yes, I gather.
But known him my whole life, so he very casually help along,
So just between you and I,
mm-hmm.
Are you both from the Scalekin Isles?
Never heard of it.
Are you sure? Because, no offense, but Scalekin such as yourself and Golkir are not normally seen outside of the Scalekin Isles, hence the name Scalekin Isles.
Well, we travel a lot, I mean,
Sure.
I can't say that we'd be held down very easily. I've always
But you weren't
been
born on a boat, you were born somewhere.
Well, aren't we all? But I mean, boats always felt like home to me.
I see, and understand. Enigmatic as always with your answers here. And speaking of certain things that you do, you call yourself a merchant vessel, but unfortunately, some of the cargo was people, and the other part of the cargo, it didn't look so, let's say, legal.
It's just spice. We sell spice and we help people. Now, the other part was a little
spices.
new.
Yeah, okay.
A little new, I must say. I wasn't expecting that, but...
Sure. Spices normally do that to people. Cause that sort of behavior.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't touch it, but, some people do.
Oh, you would not eat the spices you sell?
Well, why would I eat it just sitting there? That's just a ridiculous statement to make. I mean, honestly.
Well, you could cook it into something, but you're saying you would never consume this.
Do I look like I know how to cook well?
Well, Mr. Tobias can help. He makes a great meal.
He doesn't see eye to eye with me right now. He just don't like talking much.
I see. I will get the same answers as before in this situation. Well, sir, as much as my answers have not been met, it was a great pleasure speaking with you. Just a rather quick question follow-up here before I go. What are your plans, really? You seem to just sort of be following us.
Well, following, get some food, maybe see what a couple people doing, make sure they get to, we got some business to attend to and the big old party going to, so.
So you agree that you are following us?
Well, I wouldn't say follow.
Well, you said
pay. I did pay my way to get here, I lost some money in that. Not just this. I got to make sure I get my money's worth, you know?
I will remind you, you did say follow. But I'm going to go ahead and let that go. And with that, I'm going to head over to Thomas over here with a more in-depth discussion about character creation. Hello, Thomas. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you so much for joining us here. I just want to talk to you a little bit about how you created Captain V, what your thoughts are up to this point, and feel free to reveal exactly what you'd like to reveal and keep anything that you'd like to keep to yourself.
I mean, creating him in general was just pretty, I wouldn't say straightforward exactly, because you listen to a lot of what everyone has said, like especially at session 0, having like everyone participate, hearing what they were doing, hearing how it is. So like first probably just start off like what class to be, and then just kind of going down to being like what I like, but like still grasping about the freedom of it all. I'm used to very much the drawing lines on like, you pick this, you're this, you're this, or this, instead of just everyone being comforting about like freedom of it. Just like, hey, you can be whatever you want, you know?
And what sort of inspiration did you draw for this character of Captain V?
Honestly, it just came down to a lot of, I mean, at first it really wasn't thinking about how rogues normally are considered in D&D. But what I honestly initially came to was deciding if I was going to, how I was going to approach in the scenarios, but also kind of having the will of, when I'm playing games with an option, being a little kooky.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Being a little spontaneous every now and then helps, boost a little bit of the excitement for the character. But other than that, I know you're one of the new players at our table besides Entlink. And I'd like to ask how, fitting in your character with the game, with the other players that have been here longer, how all that kind of went about and how you felt about it.
It's daunting at first for sure, when you especially get with a lot of that. But the biggest thing that can happen is that you run into, I guess I could say I'm very used to people. I'm very used to interacting. And a lot of times I can be very reactive to see how people address the situation, to give me an idea to learn off of that. So a lot of the big times can be watching and interacting, seeing how everyone is in an independent state, to get an idea of how, like, the thought of how I should approach a scenario without either copying them or figuring out how I could do that with my own self.
All right. And did this help you sort of build out what sort of the character sort of code was for V?
Yeah, I needed to establish that very early on, certainly, without going too one way or the other, but also like allowing me to have freedom to
do what
be
you
in
wanted.
be in between of it, to where I still have enough to hold me to something when I'm doing it, or when I say a certain amount to keeping up to it. It will always allow me the freedom to be like, I'm not stuck in by just misspeaking once. If it happens, it happens. But generally, it's pretty
like
leeway.
Guidelines.
Yeah, it's more like, hey, wag the finger at yourself, like you did this to yourself, kind of, instead of like I fall into my own trap of words or something.
Interesting. And not only are you a new player here with along with Entlink, but you're also in a relationship with Entlink, and you're one of the second couple at the table. And how does that work out? Being able to play with your girlfriend.
I mean, I try to keep it, when we're playing the game, we're separate. I do love her, and we treat each other. We talk about it outside of it, but I've played some games with her outside of it too, where it could pin us against each other, and she knows that I won't treat her any different in the game compared to outside the game.
Yes.
Whether it happens to be good or bad, the ugly, she understands.
Because you are a sort of antagonists a little bit at this stage in the game.
Just a little bit, I would say. I for sure wasn't expecting the initial part of that to be that way.
Right. But hopefully you guys can mend fences in the game and at least become friends.
I hope we're getting there,
That's good, at least. And you talked about how you and your girlfriend, play video games together. Talk to us a little bit more about your interests. You're clearly an avid gamer. Are there any video games in particular, or any games in particular that you truly appreciate and draw inspiration from?
Especially for like D&D, I mean, I've played I mean, as of recent, the Baldur's Gate, I do just kind of play everything. But a big inspiration, weirdly enough, is sort of in a Fallout sense, and some Pathfinder a little in there.
Oh, I see.
But a lot of the decisions can be to change up, actually sprung from like a lot you can do in Fallout and the vastness of it, but also like leaning down to how a character can work. So I think that was the biggest part, and I just play anything. So games wise, I try out every game. I don't really stop too much on any one particular.
Just anything that catches the eye.
Oh,
really,
yeah.
You know, an opportunity to play something new, which is lovely.
Yeah, you got to experience it all to have a well-rounded opinion about what's happening with it, or an idea of how it goes on. It's a big hobby of mine. I've had it for years.
That's lovely. That's lovely. And, you know, I know that plays a lot too into playing D&D and especially being new out at it. How do you like it? And are there any other tips that you would like to share with other newbies that, you know, might be struggling a little bit with being new?
You know, a big thing that can be, but being in D&D is it can be a jarring experience, and we are lucky to have, you know, me and her are very new, but we have people like you, like everyone that's just very experienced, and it's very informative. And for most people, the hardest part will be taking that step forward to doing so, which I truly can say is just don't be afraid to fail and like feel like that you're doing wrong, because people work with you to help you progress and develop your own self.
Well, that's a lovely sentiment. Thank you so much. And we do truly appreciate helping you both at the table. And, you know, I think helping anybody who maybe has less experience always just increases and enriches that activity for everyone, because it makes you guys learn more as you go along and just make that better for everyone as well.
Oh, absolutely. And we're more grateful to have the table we have and the people to always be encouraging and helpful every step of the way.
Yeah, we love having you guys too. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so
I
much for
truly
having me.
appreciate it. Absolutely. And I'm going to send it right back to the studio to D&D wife and DM Egile. Thank you so much.